A wise person once said, you should always be able to take care of yourself because you never know when you're going to need to. That wise person was someone very special to me. My personal answer to this was always money focused, in that I should save what I could so that I could take care of an emergency that could come up. And we all know there's always something that comes up. It usually costs money, almost always, right? So, however, the more I thought about this wisdom, it really does speak to more than just having a few extra dollars around to make a repair or some other emergency. Hi, I'm Amy with Dragon's Bit Apothecary. I'm a working mom just trying to live well, naturally, the best that I can every day. And this is my video log. I've always loved this particular piece of wisdom about having what you need to be able to take care of yourself. It's just pretty important. There are so many different ways that this could be taken and applied to our life, right? So, are you like me, and when you hear this saying, you think about the financial aspects of it? Because that is what comes to my mind. And certainly that is very important. And let's face it, we could all do within a few extra things in our savings, right? And be able to count on it. But let me give you some other scenarios that could also apply. Like, what about when you're unhappy or things are not going good for you in a situation that you're in? Do you feel like you have what you need to leave that type of situation? Whether it's a relationship, your job, maybe where you live, all of that could happen, right? That's not easy to answer in any of those situations. So we like to think we can wait things out, or even that things will get better if we work harder at it, right? You've heard that too. I can't tell you all the times I've poured so many hours into a job thinking if I only get this thing done, these problems will go away, my boss will be happier, things will be better, right? The truth is, sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes you just got to leave it, right? Since it's a common one many of us experience, let's dig into that job situation a little bit more and how this wisdom actually works. So, what if you don't like your job? Now, raise your hand. Well, certainly that impacts your finances and your happiness, right? Because if job's not going good, a lot of other things probably aren't either. The truth is, a lot of us are unhappy in our jobs, and that didn't all of a sudden get better when we hit a pandemic, right? I don't know about you, but working at home is wonderful, a lot of benefits to it, but it sure didn't let up at work because we were all at home now. In fact, most of us, the working environment got even more severe and demanding of our attention and time because we're at home. They know we're not going anywhere. It also got worse because now our work has literally come into our homes and there is no escape from it. So it's hard to even get a lunch hour some days, right? What I find interesting is that even though most of us are pretty miserable in our jobs at times, we often really don't do anything about it until things get really bad or we're forced into it through like a layoff or some other crisis that we have to react to. And it's not much fun, right? We sacrifice our own happiness, our mental well-being, our physical health, and many years of our life just to capture paychecks that take care of us and hopefully get us into retirement as soon as possible. This is the mentality of a lot of people. Now, don't get me wrong, these paychecks, super important, right? Not discounting that at all. I know what they mean for my own family, so I'm not underplaying it by saying it's just a paycheck. But look at how much time we spend in these jobs each week for that. Look at what we put up with. And just to say we need to be thicker skinned or whatever, all for that paycheck, but a lot of our life is slipping away as a result of it. Okay? Whew, it's a lot, right? Is it any wonder we are not feeling our best or that our health is suffering as a result of this? Quite honestly, no, it's not. I know when I'm under pressure, I can't get to things like my workouts because I'm working a lot of hours, right? That's easy. Eating is whatever I can get in my hands, and that's fastest because I got to get back to work. And, chowing down isn't good for the digestion. I'm stressed, I'm not sleeping well, and well, I'm just unhappy. And life shouldn't be that hard, right? Well, what is even worse, though, is when we pull that trigger and start looking for another job, we often just go into another job that really isn't any better than the one we just have. Okay? It really seems like a vicious circle, so that by the time we are mid to late 40s, we literally start counting down the days to retirement. This is ridiculous, people. That's hard living. So when we think of this old wisdom that says, always have a way to take care of yourself, I am not sure it meant we should give up parts of our soul and the best part of our life, right? And the time we have to make paychecks, or the other side of this is maybe it's time we truly looked at what this advice is telling us. Okay? So I think this advice is actually telling us that sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands and you have to take care of yourself, literally. As in, you matter and your needs matter, and all the things you keep doing to keep something that is missing, the bigger picture of what you really need to make living more pleasant and maybe even provide work that isn't such a bad drama, right? Maybe this saying is really saying to not let go of ourselves in the swirl of happening around us, but rather to know when to hold, fold, and run, like the country song says. But also having the means to make that possible so we can always move in a way that is right for us, not just in our jobs or our dependency on them. That's pretty big, right? That, of course, means we have the savings to make that financially possible, but we are not losing our dreams for just another job to replace that one, because that's all we think we need, right? Or that's all we have. I think this saying is really telling us not to settle. And when you think of it that way, it does make sense that we could all of a sudden find ourselves with quite a bit of energy and motivation to move on and make things better in our lives, instead of us serving those things, right, that are supposed to take care of us. Like, you know that feeling when you've been dragging around all these worries and all of a sudden they're gone, right? That's a good feeling. It feels quite good to let some of that go, right? Okay, so now let's get to a real minute here. Think about this. Most of us cannot just up and go and leave our jobs, right? We can't do that today. So what are our real options? Well, I believe the answer is as simple as using the miserable time that we're in, the situation that's around us, to build up not just our resume and our savings for when we can finally retire, but to also use it to build up our ability to create work that truly lights us up. Now notice I said create and not look for. That wasn't by accident, and I believe it's entirely possible. It is important. So let me say that again. I think we need to use now to create work that truly lights us up. I believe when we act in our own best interest, more of us would really not only change our financial health, but also our physical and mental well-being by finding that space where we can create the thing that lights up our life, puts us on fire, secures us financially, right? Secures that income, and makes life good. This is not some pie in the sky impossible dream. It is entirely doable. I believe when you finally open that door to consider what else there is to life than working for a mean old boss, you actually get so hungry for that other lifestyle. You start to do all you can to build it into real life every day. And my friend, life doesn't start when you are in your late 60s and 70s and finally getting ready to retire. I'm talking now near-term future. The old wise saying about the plan B is telling us to always be a step ahead on what could go wrong, but it is also very much to say to not stay in something because we're settled and it's comfortable even though it's miserable, because you are limiting your life. For me, that became the idea that turned into what is known today as Dragon's Den Apothecary. This is my own creation to teach, share, and support those that want to live a more natural lifestyle and are looking for real simple advice and support to make it happen. Okay, pretty simple. Does this align, doing this aligns to my core beliefs about what life should feel like every day and how work should be inspiring and paying it forward and not just collecting a payday, and taking the very essence of who I am and sticking it into some gray cubicle to work in. Okay? Now, when I made this brave decision to say enough in my own career, it didn't mean that that was my last day there. I still work, but it became a process. I started pouring all I had into to make that possible so that one day I could say goodbye in my years well before retirement. Now, the advice to always have a way to take care of yourself, because one day you may need it, speaks directly to my craving for a fulfilling, happy life that includes work I love and that one day will eclipse or at least match my current career salary and benefits. That's a big deal, right? I think listening to the wise advice is important in our journey to live our best life, and that starts with a simple plan to be able to take care of ourselves, and which turns into a beautiful journey that you can actually enjoy now. It is a given. We will all have to work in our life, and there are things we all want and need to pay for, right? It's a fact of life. So why not have that plan be something that not only helps now, but gives you a real chance at a real future with work you love? Why can't a plan B eventually become the primary way you live so that you don't need any more plan Bs in the future, or they look entirely different? If you're interested in knowing about what I do through Dragon's Den Apothecary, to explore if something like that is a match for you, simply reach out to me at dragonsdenapothecary.com. There's a cool little chat feature there. You can check in with me. And until next time, live well naturally, my friend, and review your plan B. Mwah.